Good evening. It's nice to have you here. My name is Peter Henry. I have the privilege of being the Dean of the Stern School of Business, and I want to welcome you all to tonight's conversation, sponsored by the Stern Center for Sustainable Business. It's the first in a series this year, and this initial talk this evening is going to be given by David Arison, global businessman and philanthropist of the Arison Group, who I'll introduce in just a second. But I also want to say a special welcome. I understand we have a number of members of the Arison family in the audience this evening, so a special welcome to you. We're very delighted to have you here. So in January, we officially welcomed Tansy Whelan, who's sitting here just to my left, as the head of the Center for Sustainable Business. Tansy came to us from the Rainforest Alliance, where she was president. She's been just a whirlwind, dynamo, fantastic addition to the Stern community. She's come here to teach and also to lead the work at the Center for Sustainable Business. And she's really hit the ground running. In February of this past year, she raised $1 million from the City Foundation, and that has really gotten the center off to a roaring start. But I would add, the center needs a lot more money, so if you're so inclined, you should feel free to donate to the center. We can easily arrange that. Amanda Parker in the back right hand of the room. Amanda, give a quick wave. We'll be happy to take your checks or your credit card. The center has a very important purpose. It is, and Tansy is, really a visible manifestation of Stern's mission and belief that profit and principle not only can but must coexist, that leaders can create value for business as well as society, that business can and must be a force for good in the world. We at the school are in the business of cultivating leaders who will embrace what we call an "and" mentality in their value creation pursuits. So you'll meet Tansy later. She's going to facilitate the Q&A after David's finished speaking, and she'll also make a few concluding remarks. And now, to introduce our speaker this evening. David is here because he's an extraordinary individual who exemplifies the type of leader that we aim to produce here at Stern. And the Arison Group is a perfect example of how a company can integrate sustainability into its business models and achieve triple bottom line success in both social, environmental, and economic metrics. David is the Vice President of Global Business Relations for MIA, also of Arison Investments, global water efficiency company. He also serves as a board member of Arison Investments, the business arm of the Arison Group, and the Ted Arison Family Foundation, the philanthropic arm of the Arison Group. So he's just a little bit busy. As part of the senior executive team of an established multi-generational family business, David's position centers on representing the Arison family's shared legacy and values, which stem from the vision of doing good. This long-term vision is at the core of the doing good model that he promotes worldwide. This unique values-driven model is implemented across the Arison Group's companies and organizations to create a positive impact, again, on all three levels: social, environmental, and economic. David, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you back to the Stern School. We're delighted that you're here. We feel very privileged that you've taken the time to be here. Please come share with us your thoughts. David Arison.
Okay, is the mic on? I followed instructions. I think it's Dean Henry. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for inviting me. This is very exciting. The Doing Good model. We're here to talk a little bit about the Doing Good model, what it is, what it came from, and how we can believe that it could be a force for positive change in business. I'm David Arison. I represent the Arison Group on the business side, on the philanthropic side, and to understand a little bit of, first of all, who we are, where we come from, and so the Doing Good model, we have it in the center of our organization. We do business, we do philanthropy, and we believe that doing good is the core fundamental of everything that we're going to be doing. Let's see if I have a pointer here. Does it? Yeah? No? Okay. On the left side, we have a little bit of a unique way to show how our organization is represented. On the left side, we have the businesses. Bank of Poalim, largest bank in Israel. We believe that through the value of financial freedom and providing services and products to our clients, we can help them make smarter decisions about their financials and achieve, hopefully, financial freedom. MIA is a company that deals with water efficiency solutions. I will tell you a little bit about it later on because an abundance of values come into light within our core business model, within our operations. Salt of the Earth, the salt manufacturing company in Israel, basically the only salt manufacturing company in Israel. Shikun and Binui, they do real estate, infrastructure, green buildings, renewable energy, hydroelectric plants, solar plants. And on the right side, we have all of our philanthropic endeavors. I'm not going to get into everything on the philanthropy side. I just wanted to emphasize that for us, the model is everything. And for us, business and philanthropy is two sides of the story. We can't just, we're not interested in just doing positive business that creates financial returns as well as sustainable solutions for countries, but we also want to fill the gaps in various needs. We work in 5 continents, over 40 countries, and I think the idea is that we're large, we're diverse, and we have a platform for change. The basis is that we have a platform, we have employees, and we have communities that we can create positive change. So we started off by taking values from within our businesses. For example, financial freedom being the leading value within the bank. We took sustainability from, where's sustainability? There you are. From Shikun and Binui. And then we also took volunteering, giving, and things like inner peace from the philanthropic side. And we understood that within the life of an organization, we go through emotions as well as we go through business practice. And we started off in a way where each of these organizations were integrating their leading value within their business, but we understood that if you're able to integrate some of these values within each other, then we can bring added value. The idea is that each of the organizations basically gets engaged with these values. What does it mean to get engaged with these values? So back to the beginning for a second. We took these values, we added in a few more that are like the backbone, language and communication. It's kind of like the backbone for everything that could potentially go right and could potentially fail. And we started to build curriculum, but we really didn't know at the time what we were doing. We said we want to build this model. We want to engage each of the sides of the organizations with more values, but we didn't really know how to do it at the time. So we did something very unique. We took CEOs from a 94-year-old bank, the CEO and the chairman, 94-year-old bank, publicly traded, heavily regulated, and we took the CEO and the chairman from a small non-for-profit, and we did that with all the various organizations, and we got into a room and we started talking. We started thinking, what does this value mean to me? What can I bring to the table that could help you as an organization in terms of thought process, in terms of tools, in terms of methodology, practice? And we came up basically with these 13 values. We came up with some sort of a definition of what it means to us, and then we said, okay, how do we move forward with this? How do we act? So we took a group of academics, for a group of professors from Babson College, from Harvard, and Thunderbird, which helped us create this model to look as it does today. So for each of these values, basically, we have 3 circles. We have the individual. How does this value touch me as an individual in terms of sustainability? What are my sustainability practices at home? If I'm working in an organization that is building green infrastructure, building renewable energy, and trying to create a sustainable world, how does this relate to me as an individual? So we started doing classes within these organizations to engage us with sustainable practice and putting together tools on how, whether it's the office, recycling. Some places it's much more advanced. Some places we have to do a lot of catch up. How does it relate to the organization? Business practice, what are the products, what are the services that we can provide, and society, what's the ripple effect, how are we going to engage society, how are we going to better society's life in this. So once we had these, everything defined, and we had the academic model as it was developed, we then basically said, okay, we need to get the employees engaged. Top management, they were committed, shareholder obviously committed, but how are we going to get the employees engaged? How are we going to get the ideas from the ground up so that we can do stuff? So we created something that we called these forums, crossbreed forums, where we have participants from each of these organizations, philanthropic and business, and they sit together basically on a monthly basis, and they discuss. We currently have about 10 forums currently active. Financial Freedom is a forum that's been active for like 6 years. They've been creating tools, for example, for the individuals. How do I read my paycheck? What's the best pension plan? What's the best loan I should take? Should I overdraw my credit card, or should I take a mortgage? All these small but practical tools that could help me manage my financials in a much better way. Lately, they've been directed to develop tools to help the non-for-profits in our organization to have their own financial freedom. We have the Family Foundation, that's an endowment that supports a lot of initiatives that we do, and we're trying to take some of these practices and bring them to the other side. Giving, corporate giving. The foundation, obviously, his whole life is to give to philanthropy, but there's a big importance in corporate giving, giving to the community, giving in the fields that are connected to the life of the organization. So I kind of already took you a little bit through financial freedom and what comes out of these discussions. Language and communication, as I said, is really one of the most interesting values that we're working with right now, because if I'm saying something and my body language is saying something totally different, then you as a receiver of this message, you're confused. You don't necessarily understand the authenticity of what I'm saying. So when we're communicating with someone, there's verbal communication, there's nonverbal communication, body language. These days, everything is through texting and mobile. There's no tone of voice when you read a text. So when you're sending out these messages, no matter what form of communication it's going to be, we want to make sure that it was received in the way that it was intended. We want to have a much more positive discussion rather than a negative discussion. We want to be very conscious about our marketing materials. What type of messages are we sending out there? Are they extremely in line with the type of business that we're doing? I think an interesting case coming out of these forums is actually how it ripple affected into society. basically in Israel, I'm from Israel, there's a little bit of violence, racism on the soccer fields. And one of the participants from the language communication group, his son plays soccer in one of the cities in Israel, in Kfar Saba. And he said, we need to take some of these tools and educate our young children how they can communicate in a much more positive way. So they built basically 5 classes on me with myself, how do I talk to myself? Me with my teammates, how do I talk to my teammates? As a participant in the crowd. Long story short, the president of Israel ended up recognizing Hapoel Kfar Saba, the team, for a breakthrough in community engagement due to this project. And now we're going to try and bring it into other places. We've developed a workshop, a two-day workshop where employees basically get engaged. Some of it is a lot more informational, and some of it is really experimenting. One of the values is being. So it's me being connected to myself. How do I stay within my being? How do I be more focused at work? So mindfulness is a good practice that we've been doing, and we've been engaging our employees with lectures that could help us be more connected to our true selves. And it's basically integrating value within value within value that at the end we get into a doing good state of mind. So I promise I'll get a little bit more into practical terms, demonstrating some of the businesses. As I said, we have 27,000 employees, about 30 countries, different languages, different cultures, different backgrounds. We're headquartered in Tel Aviv. We have a lot of the chunk of the people there, but we want to reach everyone. We want to be able to engage everyone with this model, with the content that we've built. So we built an online platform that we launched 1 year ago now. It's still internal. We have intentions in the future to open it up to being an online learning course, but it's currently an internal tool where we have 15 modules. One module being the context. What is values in business? What is how does this relate to me as an employee? Why should I even care? And then there's going to be a model for each of the 13 values. We're also creating a lot of discussion in there. There's room for discussion groups. There's case studies from within the group, without the group, and it's a very good tool for us to get our employees further engaged, especially when they're so far away. So as I said, we have 15 models. We have a lot of case studies from within the group, from without the group, and some interesting clips as well. And we also have questionnaires, surveys in there, kind of like quizzes on what did I learn from this. My mother wrote a book about the Doing Good model. This is actually a very easy way to understand what the model is, how it was born, and why, and what we're doing with it. Now a little bit more practical. How does this come to life in our businesses? Because at the end of the day, taking values in an organization, and it's very well known that everyone sets a vision, a mission, values. They put it very nicely on the wall. Most cases, it stays there. The idea is that it doesn't stay on the wall. It goes into the room. It goes into the field, and has a ripple effect. So we start with the vision of the organization, and that's basically where it all began. What is the vision of the organization? So to be a leading global financial service firm with its core in Israel, focused on its clients and working to enhance their financial freedom. This means that as a bank, I'm going to be caring about my clients. I'm not going to just be looking at highest margins. I understand that my clients are my potential of growth. And the better my clients are going to be, the better the bank is also going to be able to do financially. So over the years, they've developed a lot of tools, whether it's the most basic tools of pie charts, of inflows and outflows, of understanding your budgets and building a budget. Unfortunately, not everybody knows how to build or live by a budget, so we try to help with that. We create a lot of digital tools to help alarm us about these things that we're not aware of in terms of, let's say, our cable bill. After 3 years, the price went up, but none of us really pay attention. They give you an alert so that you can automatically do something about it. There's supporting small businesses. Small businesses is the backbone of Israel, the engine of growth. And at times, they don't necessarily have financing mechanisms. They don't have the tools. They don't have marketing tools. They don't have the ability to gather data about their businesses. So we try to help. We support small businesses as an active initiative, as a strategy, understanding that they are the backbone of the country, and we provide them the tools so that they could do more. We do a small business day. It really gives a lot of PR and help engaging locals with the local businesses. I'm going to skip over that one. Digital innovation. Banking is way different than it was just a couple of years ago. We basically have almost no need to go to the branches anymore. We can do everything digitally. So let's provide tools that are also be helpful, that could help us make smart decisions, not just be active, but also help us make smarter decisions. In terms of, this came out a little messed up, but in terms of, and I apologize for the Hebrew, this is, I just want to emphasize this slide on how a large corporate takes something that's very new and they build it into their DNA. So this is the implementation process of the Doing Good model, and what they say is that we're going to take one of the values and we're going to talk about it for a full month. We're going to create activities, we're going to create engagement, and we're going to send out publications, and we're going to have a discussion and some sort of a educational forum with regards to each of these values on any given month. Shikunim Bilui, you can see sustainability being the core value within this organization. So it took my mother about 10 years from the first time that she said to this infrastructure company the word sustainability until they even understood what this means. And today we're the leading company in Israel for building green buildings with LEED certification. We do many projects, whether it's hydroelectric, thermosolar, PV, and triple bottom line is integral in all of these projects. Not only the financial returns, but also stakeholder engagement, social returns, and it's extremely important for us to be innovative, to continuously look for innovation in a very traditional field of work. So one of the things that we can do in terms of sustainability is use recycled materials. We don't always have to use new materials. We can recycle and they're also pretty good quality work. Engineers Without Borders, this is the campaign that they came out with, build up to basically invite I don't know how much everybody knows too much about Israel, startup nation, technology just coming from the ground at every place. So Shikun Binui went out to the public and they said, offer me technology that can help me do my work much more efficiently and create sustainable practices. They got a lot of interesting things. They got a lot of interesting practices. Now we're basically mapping everything out and seeing what type of products came out that we can work with. Very interesting program. In Uganda, they were able to integrate a lot of women employment within their projects, which is not very common for infrastructure projects, especially when we're talking about operating heavy machinery. But these women are extremely proud about their work, and we're happy to work with them. Shikun and Binui did a management program where alongside the management program, they integrated the values in our day-to-day life, decision making, work plans, what type of projects we're going to be looking at, and this is the way that they are currently looking at developing the model within the organization. They also have an extremely far outreach to their employees with regards to sustainability, and we're going to start copying that in all the different values. I'm going to skip over this company, even though they do very nice work. And this one deserves a little bit of an introduction. Let's see, where can I? Okay.
It's amazing what happens to our cities' abundant fresh water. Over the years, our cities grew and grew. Bigger and bigger. While our water supply networks just got older and older, till they started collapsing under the demand. So we thought, okay, let's bring in more water.
But when new water enters the broken system, it just leaks right out. Due to inefficiency, our cities lose a third of their drinking water every single day, costing us over $18 billion a year.
So maybe we should replace all the pipes.
Not quite. Pipe replacement is extremely expensive. It greatly disrupts the city, and it still doesn't prevent future erosion.
So, how else can we face this challenge?
Well, we tried repairing leaks in one place, but that just raised pressure and increased leaks in other places. We tried fixing pipes to increase supply to one neighborhood, only to discover more illegal use nearby. Whatever we do, changing any one element of the system affects all the others. So despite all our efforts, utilities still lose rivers of water every day.
So, is there any way to make our existing urban systems more efficient?
Yes, Mia accepted the challenge and found a way to get the most out of every single cubic meter of water.
Sounds great. How do they do it?
Mia offers utilities a unique 4-stage customized solution. Stage 1 is an in-depth analysis of the current network to discover exactly how much water is being lost and where. Stage 2 is planning. Taking all the elements into account, Mia designs a comprehensive solution that ensures results. Choosing cutting-edge technologies and the best human resources, MIA develops the most strategic and cost-effective model. Stage 3 is implementation of the plan. This includes finding leaks, repairing and replacing broken pipes, improving pressure and meter management, seeking out illegal connections, and installing exclusive network management software to enable online data monitoring. All the while, MIA updates the plan to ensure that each activity is the most economical for the utility. In Stage 4, MIA focuses on activities that maintain the targets. MIA also trains utility employees, passing on their expertise to establish skilled local teams to sustain results into the future.
Impressive. Can we see me?
This is the only company that was founded by Arison Investments. And the way that it was founded is that my mother put forward a vision to ensure an abundance of fresh water. We started thinking, okay, what does this mean? We did a lot of learning in the water sector, and we understood that over a third of the produced drinking water that's transmitted in our city's pipes physically leaks out. So this is definitely not abundance. This is not sustainability. And we fill this gap. Basically, we work with governments, municipalities, utilities to help them, partner with them to make the water systems much more efficient. So when we approach a place, we study the data, we analyze it, we put together a plan, and then implementation. The benefits of these projects are quite a lot, actually, because when we're saving water, the first thing that we're doing is we are practicing sustainability for these reservoirs. We are reducing carbon emissions. We are creating an environment where we're supplying better service of water to the utilities clients. Increasing pressure. Living in New York City, we take for granted that water comes out, there's good pressure and all that. I promise you, we work in places that water comes out somewhere between 6 to 12 hours a day, maybe a couple of days a week. And there's so much work that needs to be done that the people themselves, they feel extremely stressed. And being stressed in this type of situation means you're also not going to be practicing efficiently. Because a lot of places, they have these tanks, they fill them up, they keep the taps on, and whenever the water comes out, it fills the taps, and then they can have water in their homes, and many times it overflows, so we're producing more, we're not getting what we wanted to. So the business model addresses the client's needs in terms of having performance-based compensation, yearly targets, achieving those targets, getting paid, not achieving those targets, not getting paid. What it does is that it aligns our interests. It forces me as an organization to make investments that are in the best interest of the client. They're in the best interest of the client, they're in the best interest of the people. As a company, I'm going to be more profitable. So in Manila, we started off in a situation where it's a concession area of 9 million people, only 6 million were getting served. They did not have 24/7, and service was poor. We started off by recruiting 450 engineers, so we're also creating a lot of jobs. Those engineers were recruited within the water utility. We trained them, we deployed them in the field, we integrated a lot of technology and know-how and all this stuff, but the outcome is extremely interesting because we were able to achieve savings of 850 million liters of water that no longer physically leaks out of the pipes. By saving that water, the utility was able to connect 2.8 million people to the grid that did not have running water in their homes. Better service for everyone. Withdrawing 10% less water from the reservoirs, so you're serving almost 3 million people more, but you're withdrawing less from the reservoirs. After recovering all these lost costs and selling the water, they actually tripled their net income. Interesting story, this is a private concession. They bought their concession for $500 million right before we started our project. 4.5 years later, they sold 20% for $500 million. So that's nothing to do with our piece of the pie. And those 450 employees, we finished our project. We're not there anymore. They're continuing to do the work. They're continuing to do better. And we really make sure that the program is sustainable, that it lives long after we finished our project, because doing this project on this type of live system, if you're not going to be physically active about it, then it's going to quickly deteriorate, go back to how it was. We have a 10-year project in the Bahamas. This is currently our flagship project. It's the largest in size. Sorry, Jamaica may grow, but this is currently our flagship project. 10 years, 5 years to achieve targets, 5 years to maintain targets. 40% of our pay. This is the largest portion of performance-based compensation we've ever taken in a project. 40% of our pay is tied specifically to achieving the goals. And when we started our survey, based on the data that we had, they were losing 5 million imperial gallons of water per day. After the survey, we understood that they're losing 6.8 million imperial gallons per day. And we still needed to achieve the same target. Now, with the same budget, so much more work to do, how are we going to achieve the same target? That's exactly what the performance-based compensation gave us. It gave us the ability to be flexible, to do the investments where it's needed in the system, and where we could have the best rate of return. This is a situation where the client was not interested in having his employees participate, at least not in the first phase of the project. He said, you do everything yourself, hand over a much better system, and then we can do a lot of training and knowledge transfer. They did not have 24/7 when we started our project. They needed to shut down because production just couldn't meet the needs. They didn't have control over their system. They didn't know where their water was going. We got control over the system. Within 8 months, we got them on 24/7. While reducing leakage by more than half within 3 years, they've increased pressure. Now, the correlation between pressure and leakage is linear. More pressure, more leakage. You fix a leak, less pressure coming out. Go into a different place in the area, creating additional leaks. You need to be able to deal with this. So again, the business model allows us to do what's best for the client and best for the environment at the end of the day. Right now, we are 1 year ahead of our targets in the Bahamas. We did a pilot educational program to educate basically 5th graders on how in their homes they could use water in a much more efficient way. And we also saw that through their water meters, consumption went down by 20%. Now, it's not just, it's not magic or anything, it's the simple stuff. Brushing your teeth, shut the faucet while you're brushing your teeth, shorter showers, stuff like that. And as a father, I also know that children are the best way to educate us. So we educate the children. Now the Ministry of Education wants to roll that out as a program to all the schools, and we're helping with the curriculum. They're going to be doing it. We're just helping with the curriculum. And at the end of the day, we are delivering a system that is much more reliable, much more sustainable, and also providing financial freedom to the utilities as well. The Deputy Prime Minister in the Bahamas, the first thing that he says when he goes out to the press is, we saved this and this amount of money on water that we did not have to purchase to service leaks. So now, with that amount of money, he at least has the financial freedom to do something else that is in benefit to his people, hopefully. So that's Mia in a nutshell. There's so much more that we can get into. David Arison Family Foundation. As I said, we're not really getting into too much on philanthropy, but I did think that it's worth mentioning Good Deeds Day. Good Deeds Day is a day that again my mother founded to engage people with community, with doing good in community, volunteering in community. And we understand the importance of our corporates or our organizations participating in Good Deeds Day and engaging our community. In some places we do it together with our clients, some places we do it by ourselves, but the idea is as corporates we are engaging our community and we are doing volunteer work. We are also, this is a very large scale yearly event. Basically last year we had participation from 75 countries with a little over 2 million participants, giving like, I don't know, 3-4 million hours of volunteering worldwide. And that's a slideshow of my presentation.
Thank you so much, David. Incredibly inspiring, and I bet everybody has lots of questions for you. So let's open it up. There's one over there.
Great presentation. I go to a lot of family next generation meetings, and there are two schools of thoughts. One I call the Warren Buffett school. I'll make money where I can make money. And I'll get Bill Gates to deal with things I have no interest or capability. Other people say, I'll put money into impact investing, be it clean water, clean energy, saving lives through healthcare. What's your philosophy of that? And the value is people see what you act. That's a comment. I was with Chase, and people thought that all these vision and values were bullshit because nobody got fired, but not playing by the value if they brought a big deal. So people know if you bring a good deal, you can cheat a little bit. If telling the truth would be a criteria for a president, I don't know what we'll do in the election.
Yes, so as a principle, we believe that we need to be the change that we would like to see in our organizations, in society. So we have to lead by example. And in general, within our positions, there's a importance to just lead, to have somewhere that we can go, and we're extremely pure in our intentions that we want to have positive impact. It's basically if you want to see change, you got to be it, and as you say, in some organizations, sometimes. Thank you. In some organizations, as you say, yeah, as long as you bring the deal, I don't really care if something went under or aside the table. We've taken an enormous amount of time to get projects because we are unwilling to work in that way. Our projects in the Caribbean, where we have knowledge of things going on, took us over 3 years to get a signed deal, and we were going as straight as an arrow. We've lost projects, we've walked away. At the end, our reputation is everything, and you can do 99% clean and have just that 1%. It kind of wipes out everything, at least in people's perception. And if we put that aside, that's not who we are. We want to create something different in the world.
Hi, thank you. You've done a lot of commendable work around the world, including a number of lesser developed countries. Oh, thank you. Such as Uganda and Tanzania and elsewhere. As I'm sure you know, it's practically impossible to go to countries where you don't get the political will of the government, even though your intention is to do good and to help them economically, environmentally, et cetera. Do you have any examples of that happening to you and your team, and what do you do about that? I mean, you can walk away, but is there anything perhaps to keep you trying?
Yeah, it happens a lot. In MIA, for example, basically, our pitch to a client, as pretty as we try to make it, is I can do your job better than you. It is not accepted well. And we try to tell them we have technologies, we have methodologies, we have these expert engineers that specialize in the field. And at the end of the day, they know exactly what they're doing, how to get there, and they also know how to cook the numbers in a way where it's not perceived as a problem. Fortunate enough, the world is big enough, and in this specific field, there's so many projects out there that we need to be focusing on the ones that would like to have a dialogue, would like to do something about it. And at the end of the day, our success stories, our clients, our client in the Bahamas, I did not mention that our project in the Bahamas is financed by Inter-America Development Bank. And only out of a total contract size of $84 million, only $51 million is financed. The rest is generated through the savings in the project. Inter-America Development Bank takes the CEO of the Bahamas Water Utility basically to every conference to share this project. So he's currently our best salesman. But we encounter that a lot. We encounter a lot of unfair play during tendering processes as well, which hold up the process. We try to encourage our clients to select on a technical basis. At the first part, at least, take the money out of the equation. You can negotiate, you can get your price, but if you're going to be looking for the lowest price, you're not going to be getting the highest quality of solution for sure.
Thank you. This is very inspirational. Two questions. One is, with all these activities, is there anything that you regret or that you would do differently? And second, in the future, what's coming next? This is very creative. What are your other ideas?
Yeah. I try not to regret anything in general. I prefer to learn from it and to grow. Things that we would do differently, I'm sure that there are so many processes that went on that we would do differently. I know that in terms of the organizational model, the doing good model, we are going to be doing things differently than we have been doing thus far. And the reason is that we developed this in-house. So we don't really have the privilege to bring in a consulting firm to give us all the tools that we need. We're building it on our own. But we do think that in the future, as a model, it's very interesting to package it in a way where it could be very beneficial to other organizations, whether they're for-profit or not-for-profit.
Have you had much success bringing this to the United States? Because I think we could use that between Flint, Michigan, and water shortages in Arizona and California and so on.
Excellent question. Simple answer, no. I recently met with a potential client, hopefully a potential client, where they're one of the only water utilities that I know in the U.S. that not only do they do water loss audits by an independent company, they also publish it on their websites. So you could see on the yearly basis, going back 5 years, that they have a problem. They started at like 32% losses, somehow went down to 27, but gradually it went back up, and they're currently on their 2015 audited numbers at 30.6% losses. I have not yet met a water utility in the United States that is willing to admit that they are above 10%. We met them, and he was extremely comfortable with how his losses are below 10%, and that his regulatory, he needs to report no more than 10% to his regulators. So he was telling us about all these technologies that they implement, all the work, the 20 staff that they have, which is not a lot, and then I asked him. I tried to be respectful, but I don't know how this stuff comes across. I said, if you're saying that you are at 6%, I believe you. I mean, Germany is at 7%. They're like the leading in the world. Holland and Singapore, small place, 4.25%. Seriously, some of the most efficient countries in the world do not necessarily know how to get to these type of numbers, and he says that they're at 6%. I say, not to be disrespectful, but you have water loss audit on your website that's done by an independent company. You publish it. Where's the gap? He said, I don't believe with their mechanism of reporting, their mechanism of calculating. And before that, he also told us that you can cook the numbers in whatever way you want. So unfortunately, we are not yet willing to admit that we have a problem. We are also not willing, I'm saying we because I'm American, and so I'm taking a little bit of responsibility upon myself as well. We do not work in a way where we can do a design of a project and then implement it. There is a total separation between design and implementation, and when we're talking about a road, a building, a bridge, traditional infrastructure, conditions in the field do not change, at least not dramatically, where you have to make big changes. So you can get an engineering firm, they can do a design, you can tender out to a contracting firm where lowest price takes. But when you're talking about a live water system where when you fix a single leak, every characteristic in the pipes changes, everything changes, there is no way you can have a design and an implementation process that's like 5-6 years down the road and not updated. And that's why in the video clip they're emphasizing all the while we are updating our programs, because we do like 1,000 activities per month in terms of either replacing meters, replacing pipes, fixing pipes, all these things. And everything changes, we need to continuously be updated. So the tendering processes aren't there. Financing is mostly on facilities and pipe replacement and all the traditional infrastructure. So we have kind of a problem of awareness, admitting, and then basically the tools don't really exist to allow us to do a sustainable project.
Hi. So in the beginning of your presentation, you gave a list of values: vitality, sustainability, financial freedom. So I'm wondering if there was ever a time where the pursuit of one came in conflict with the other, and how, if yes, how do you assess which value is more valuable?
Very interesting question. We find that these values are complementary. That some of these values, for example, added value for humanity. How do you create added value for humanity? The way I view it is that a few values have to be in place to create added value. You have to have sustainability, maybe inner peace, abundance. Let's say these 3 values come into light in a community, then potentially you're creating an added value for that community. So in order to achieve inner peace for one person, it could be having financial freedom. For another, it could be vitality. For me, actually, achieving inner peace is when I am practicing vitality, when I'm doing sports, when I'm most alive. I also feel at most in peace with myself. So a lot of these are really personal. And segueing from one to another is inevitable. I don't think that any of them really overlap, that one has to come instead of the other, and that's due to the core of doing good. Basically, the value of doing good in the middle, and the intention of having positive impact in various levels. I hope that answers your question somewhat.
I thank you for that presentation. Following up on the previous question, what are some of the biggest challenges to implementing this first throughout your organization, and sort of persuading your own internal stakeholders that this model actually has value in and of itself and it's worth following on a day-to-day basis, but also the challenges to persuading the ones outside the organization that this is worth doing and in the long run?
Yeah, so it's difficult. A lot of employees say, I have a job. I just want to do my job, and I don't necessarily care about my surroundings. And then you try to tell him some stories that he should care about his surroundings because it affects his life. His life affects his surroundings. And I think that one of the core elements is that as people, we need to understand that as an individual, we can make a change, that it's not hopeless. And then each of us can do a little bit, but together it's creating positive impact, it's creating positive change. So it is discussions and engaging, and a lot of people are extremely cynical about it, within or without the organization. At the end of the day, those same cynical people work in an organization that they understand is doing something for the benefit of others, doing something that's creating positive change. So slowly but surely, you plant a seed, and then another one, then it starts growing. You start understanding, and then maybe like one morning, you're like, oh, I get it. It takes time. It's a long-term process. As I said, with sustainability in Shikun and Binui, it took 10 years of discussion before we started acting upon it. That single value. Financial freedom in the bank, same. Took many years to achieve this. And even more so when we're talking about values like being, like purity, like fulfillment, all these kind of like soft values that are very personal. In terms of outputs to other organizations, so we have case studies within our organizations that show that when your products and services are connected to values, then you're going to be more profitable. We're working with, currently we have an endowed professor at George Mason University, which also does a little bit of research, but more so teaches and publishes. And we believe that, as I said before, leading by example, it's at the end we're going to see that it creates positive impact, and people are looking for something different these days. We're not just looking for the 9-to-5 jobs. We want purpose. We want engagement. We want a better future for our children. It's we all woke up this morning with this crazy alert on our phones, right? I live in Israel. I've never seen anything like that. That's serious. It's not a world we want to live in. And we believe that business is a power of change. our employees have families, they have friends, and together we can create a better world. Hopefully that answers your question.
Are you familiar with Atlantic Philanthropies and Chuck Feeney's philosophy of giving while living? He basically is trying to spend his way out of existence in the next few years, and it wasn't easy getting rid of $7 billion.
Yes, I'm familiar with the ideas. I think it's a question of the next generation. Do you have shared values? Do you see your children doing what you did? And also in terms of perspective, some say, I'm going to give everything during my life, or leave it as directly after. The way we see it is a little bit differently. We believe in next generation transmissions and having. I can say that myself. I have shared values with my mother's visions, and I know that I will continue this type of work. Hopefully, my children the same. If not, then maybe we have to adapt the mechanism so that the best impact will be made. But I also believe that if we do it over long periods of time and not just a one-stop shop, we can create more impact.
We'll take 2 more questions. So, see back there. Yeah.
When you win new business, how much is it, do you think, from your legacy industrial logic or your optimization abilities versus the impact discipline you're talking about now?
Can you repeat the first part?
When you win new business,
Yes.
How much is it because of your sustainability practices versus your industrial logic or optimization practices that you sort of were, 30 years ago?
So I can only answer for the MIA part because I actually worked in MIA for many years. Shikunin Binui, I'm not really in the depth of the processes. As I said, the tenders that we promote are technical basis, meaning whoever can provide the best technical solution. And to provide the best technical solution, you also need case studies. You need proof that you've done it elsewhere. I think it's basically, for the case of MIA, I really believe that it's due to the vision. And because of the vision, we were able to get into the field that we're in. We're also operating water utilities, but that's a newer part of the business, and it's more of a growth engine, more so than going directly into the mission in hand. Just providing the best technical solution that creates the benefits for the community, creates like 10% of the score was local employment. Are you going to employ locals? Are you going to relocate from out of town? We had a staff of about 50 people in our office. Currently, it's down to about 33. 30 of them are locals that we recruited and trained, and 3 are relocated experts. So it's really about what can you do to the community, and then it gets held up for another year and then another year because this company wants to do this company wants to do that. But at the end, it works out because at least in a couple of these cases, because it brings real value.
One other question there, and then
Hi. I just wanted to first thank you again for your presentation.
Thank you.
I am a freshman in the undergraduate college at Stern, and I've been here less than a month, and it's been like really amazing to already hear such an inspirational presentation. So thank you for that. I'm currently majoring in business and political economy with an intended minor in social entrepreneurship. So this presentation I felt sort of fit right into my aspirations for the future. I think a large question that a lot of people currently like in college or recent college grads struggle with is how to sort of engage in society in a way that involves both the private and public sector. You talked a little bit about profit and principle, business and philanthropy, and I was just wondering if you had any advice to like the up and coming generations, sort of how to navigate the intersections of these topics, I guess.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much, and good luck going forward. The only advice that I would have for you would be find something within yourself that you can connect to, that brings purpose to your life, something that you see outside that you wanna change, and just be that person, and don't take no from anyone. Don't let anybody change the way that you think. Stay with your belief systems, and just be true to yourself. That's really the only thing that I could tell you. I think that if we as people are much more connected to ourselves and we're much more truer to ourselves, then we could also live happier lives, because we're going to be able to be more conscious about the decisions that we're making and where they're going to lead us to. So.
David, thank you. And clearly that's advice you So I just wanted to, in listening to David and I had a chance with the dean to talk a little bit to David and Tamara and his team earlier, and just a few thoughts to sort of pull out from what we heard this evening. First of all, that driving positive impact through business and filling the gaps with philanthropy, thinking about it in a whole system, what can you accomplish, is really driving positive benefit for the company and for you as individuals, right? So it's driving financial benefit, it's driving societal benefit, and it's driving personal satisfaction. Yeah? So I think that's a lesson when we look at companies around the world, that can really drive all kinds of positive impact. Another thing that you shared with us is how you did that, and you started really with this core, doing good is our state of mind, right? So that's the North Star that's driving the company. And then from that, designing these 13 values and that interactive process, and really working on embedding that in the company. And you showed us the different ways that you do that. Also really inspiring. And that in doing that, you did it across stakeholders, right? Creating learning. So it wasn't just, the bank talking to the bank. It was the bank talking to the infrastructure people, talking to the NGOs, right? And creating that learning. And that's also something that we see is, having run the Rainforest Alliance before and working with business, that learning from each other, from non-typical partners is really key. And I think you showed that. Some of the other things that I thought was really, and then you talked about how you translate those values from being up on the wall, right, into the road, the green road that you're building, and how to move that forward. And then the examples that you showed, which I think were really exciting, was when you place this goal of positive impact, you can drive innovation. So you talked about infrastructure and construction, kind of a staid, conservative industry. And your competitive advantage, right, is being designed through the way you're driving positive impact, and innovation and new ways of thinking. And similarly on the water side, that the water company was set up not to make money or to build pipes. It was set up as your mother had this vision, right?
Solve a problem. Exactly,
to solve a problem. And you created a viable and really important business with that mode of approach. And in that, actually, what I think also is really interesting as a lesson is that you looked at you analyzed what the problem was, right? And looked at the 30% water loss and said, okay, here's a leverage point for us as a business opportunity to go in and leverage that change. So I think, and then finally you talked a bit about what's also I think a real important trend today is performance-based management, right? And designing projects where you can be rewarded based on performance. And I think that's also a fascinating trend when you're really trying to get at impact and looking at how you do that. And then finally, that's very important for the university, you talked about education throughout, right? And how education is really critical at all levels, right? So it was really wonderful. I want to emphasize your slide before this, which just said Good Deeds Day, that everybody join you on Good Deeds Day, and thank you so much.
Please join.